Santosh sir, Santosh sir,
Ravi.
sir, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
So shall we start? I think already 7:10 time.
7 minutes? Okay.
7:10 already 7:10 time now. So
Yeah,
we'll
yeah, yeah.
start
Yeah,
now.
okay. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So good evening to all. Uh, Today we have the lecture series number 57. Today our topic is Roots of Justice. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Buddhist perspective and constitutional morality. Today our speaker is our friend and our known persons from CDS side, Dr. Santosh Rawat from Harvard University, USA. He is a well-known uh, Buddhist teaching faculty in Hyderabad in South India. I can say that. Uh, and also, I will give brief introduction about Dr. Rawat. Dr. Rawat, known as a Maitrivir Nagarjuna, hails from Maharashtra, the heartland of the Ambedkar Buddhist movement. Both a Dharma teacher and a scholar of Buddhist aesthetics and philosophy, he has long been a thought leader and organizer within broader Asian network of engaged Buddhism. Following his doctoral studies in Buddhist aesthetics, Kant and Schopenhauer, I don't know the pronunciation, Schopenhauer at Jawaharlal Nehru University and Codington Court, UK, Santosh joined in the Department of Statistics and Philosophy, IFLU University in Hyderabad, as assistant professor. He combines as a assistant professor. He joined as assistant professor. He combines this work with his role as the deputy chairman of Nagarjuna Training Institute and the founder of the Babasaheb Ambedkar Philosophical Society (BAPS) at Nagaloka in Nagpur. Founded in 1994 near the site where Dr. Ambedkar formally converted to Buddhism in 1956, along with hundreds of thousands of followers. Nagaloka is a major Ambedkar hub connected to the Triratna Buddha Mahasangha (TBM). Dr. Santosh also co-founded two movements, the National Network of Buddhist Youth and the Buddhist Festival, a festival of Buddhist arts, culture, and heritage. For a number of years, he has actively supported the Ambedkari Buddhist movement in Hungary, among the Roma, about which a documentary was made. More recently, he has also involved in the Buddhavanam project in Nagarjuna Sagar in Telangana, a very large Buddhist heritage site park. Currently, Santosh is a postdoctoral fellow at Harvard Divinity School. He was recently interviewed about Buddhism and social justice by the scholar John Kane at Michigan State University and gave a keynote address on the occasion of Dr. Ambedkar's 134th birthday anniversary, April 14, 2025, at University Nations headquarters, New York, and Dr. Ambedkar's quest of global fraternity and equality. He was invited for the second time to deliver a keynote address on the occasion of Isak Day, the day of Buddha's enlightenment, May 15th, 2025, at United Nations headquarters, New York, on the lotus blooms in a troubled waters. Buddha, middle path through a fractured world and his wisdom for global challenges. With this brief introduction, I would like to invite Dr. Santosh Rawat sir. Sir, welcome. Please give your lecture. Sir, hand over to you.
Thank you very much. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, you can say, sir. Already you are the uh, co-host. You can share it.
No, I'm saying, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah, yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. And first of all, I just wanted to congratulate Center for Dalit Studies and the team for their wonderful work, excellent work, and continuous efforts. This is a 57th lecture. Uh, I I congratulate all the organizations along with Indian Institute of Dalit Studies, Center for Dalit Rights, National Alliance for Social Justice Dalit Coalition, People's Campaign for Socio-Economic Equity Dalit Bhujan Front, National Movement for Land Labor and Justice, also Dalit Human Right Defender Networks, and National Council for Women Leaders. Uh, and of course, all the participants who are attending it, who are sharing solidarity uh, uh, with the Center for Dalit Studies for celebrating this beautiful celebration. So today I'm going to speak or deliver this lecture on Roots of Justice, Dr. Ambedkar's Buddhist perspective on constitutional morality. I I have a few slides, a lot of slides, but I'm not going to read all of them. I'm just putting on the screen so that we can see it. I will just highlight the important points. Uh, I wanted to also express the great congratulations to nation, to India itself for accomplishing 75 years of Indian Constitution. I I also just a second wanted to dedicate this talk to the great struggle that is going on at Bodh Gaya for its good governance, Buddhist governance, and liberation. I first of all wanted to express few things that I'm not an expert in the constitution. Uh, so my opinions are personal, and of course I try to cite myself uh, as 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 I use the title perspective. And secondly, uh, when I was sort of designing the title, the Buddhist perspective, I also wanted to say that every country has its own unique journey through civilization, history, society, in the formation of its constitution. Uh, so, when I'm using the word Buddhism, it doesn't mean any influence of one particular religion or constitution as a religious text. I'm simply trying to cite, as I'm trying to say, that every country, when they form their constitution, has their civilizational, societal, historical processes in its formation. As probably Lal Manish said, first time the India sort of experienced the freedom, the complete freedom when uh, it achieves or received the Indian Constitution, because it was free from all religious influences on the text. So please be clear, or let us be clear, when I'm speaking about Buddhism is only a historical civilizational method that has a very significant contribution to form a harmonious and the society that has been claimed or aspired in the preamble of constitution. And I'm also trying to contextualize some of the global phenomena in the world in the formation of constitution. Let's see if we have time. I may not even go into that, but I'm trying to say that Dr. Ambedkar, while writing this Indian constitution, was extremely aware of what is happening from across the globe, and his historical processes in ancient time and in his own time. That was the Horatius and the thorough uh, efforts that Dr. Ambedkar has put in formation of Indian Constitution, or while he was writing Indian Constitution. So uh, we have seen that Dr. Ambedkar sort of rose to a present final draft of Indian Constitution to the Constitution Assembly on November 25th, 1949. He carried within him not just the legal acumen of a Columbia or London trained jurist. It's not just mere so trained in the Western education, but he himself was a profound moral man of vision. He was carrying a profound moral vision of a man who had found Buddha's teaching in the blueprint of what we call a just society. He said that, like what we see in the preamble of Constitution, liberty, equality, and fraternity, he did not borrow it from French Revolution. So he disconnected those Western sort of blind influences. He was very thoughtful what he was trying to do, and he says that he borrowed from his this uh, message from the Buddha, uh, his master, the Buddha. That's the uh, expression he used. Just a second, I yeah. Can you still see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Ravi?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, my screen slightly disappeared, so I'm sorry. So, as I say, he said that his famous declaration was uh, that he borrowed his spirit from his master, the Buddha. You see how he adopted those principles or the spirit in making of his thinking, while contextualizing what was happening in the India's ancient past. The disharmony, the discrimination that we still face has a serious consequences on Indian society, on individuals' mind. May that be a caste atrocities or marginalization of minorities, and having a divided society. So he he was aware what Buddha has to speak in ancient time. So Buddha's most radical act, of course, was under the Bodhi tree, but his important and most central message was of the systematic dismantling of the Brahminical society. For example, in Agnya Sutta, Buddha says that na jacha vaslo hoti na jacha hoti bamano, kamuna vaslo hoti kamuna hoti bamano. By birth, one is not a Brahmin. By birth, one is not a non Brahmin. By your deeds, by your karma, by your action, you become a noble person, or you become a Brahmin or noble person. This was a revolutionary statement, directly challenged the sort of the, as I was saying, the influences of law on the religion, like Manusmriti, was divided and society, and prescribe the severe punishments. So you see that in Article 15, for example, that prohibits discrimination on the grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, and place of birth. Secondly, while dismantling the caste system is an important incident in Buddha's life, that he ordained Upali, a barber from the lower community, in front of the royal uh, community, Sakya. Uh, how could such a lowly profession join the Sangha? So, Buddha answered and replies and respond to that incident not only by ordaining Upali and made him a sort of senior to the Brahmins, but established the principle of spiritual ranking determined by ordination. Here, ordination means your virtues, your worth, and not by birth. That is the sort of the prototype of constitutional equality. You do not discriminate people on the basis of your caste. Secondly, when he in fact presented a constitution to first president of India, Dr. Ambedkar delivered a very important statement in constitution in the parliament, saying that an experience of democracy is not new to Indian civilization. So when people claim that these are the modern concepts that Dr. Ambedkar was influenced and borrowed it from here and there, that was not the case. Dr. Ambedkar was very aware what was happening in India's past and how Indian constitution must be rooted in its own civilizational history to gel with the transforming society in our own time. So, for example, in Chuluvagga, uh, Ma Prajapati Gautami, Buddha's stepmother, fought for women's ordination right. And that struggle sort of parallels the constitutional guarantee of gender equality in Article 14. And he says that that experience of democracy is not new to Indian civilization. It was very much existed in the Buddha's uh, Sangha. So you see in the Buddha Sangha, there were Sunita, who comes from sweeper class, Sopaka, who comes from the Chandala community, was a Purna, the Punya they call it, the slave son of become a reverend teacher, the Sakyan prince, and also a Chandalika, untouchable woman, and royal woman. So we see that inclusion in Buddha Sangha, which was a document of equality, liberty, and fraternity that Dr. Ambedkar was trying to produce, was gelling with the all ancient Indian wisdoms that would support the governance of our modern India, the country, the nation. We see the Buddha's political philosophy and governance. Buddha various suttas in various places. He advised kings and governors. For example, in Chakravarti Sutta, he in Digha Nikaya, Buddha outlines how a religious king should govern. Like Dhamma based governance, here Dhamma is the moral principle, not the religion as a dharma you followed by the hierarchies. I'm specifically talking about the Buddha's teaching, protection of the vulnerable, special care for the poor and helpless, economic justice, ensuring no one lacks the basic necessities, and the non-violence, governance through persuasion and not coercion. Coercion. So these are the sort of teachings that Buddha himself gave to the king to govern their state. And also Buddha addressed specifically on the various kings whenever they interact. Especially we found this reference with the king Pasenjit, that there should not be a cruel punishment, which sort of when we see the interpretation of Article 21, right to life and the personal liberty, interpreted by Honorable Supreme Court, to prohibit the cruel, inhuman, and degrading punishments. An extremely important threat that we face today is about nuclear wars. The borders under tension. How Buddha managed to navigate such a situation full of tense atmosphere between Sakyas and Koliyas. Buddha adopted the democratic dialogue over violence. He did not go for the fight between Sakyan and Kolyans. As a royal prince who has authority to speak with the power, Buddha did not use that. Through the patient dialogue, he helped both the communities reach peaceful revolution, sharing the water equality, the incidents that demonstrates that Buddha's preference for democratic negotiations over violent conflict. If you see this image, Buddha rose traditionally it is said that Buddha rose up to the sky and delivered the statement asking which is more vulnerable, which is more valuable, water or the blood? That's the question he asked to both the armies. Here, Pali text sort of describes the rising of the Buddha does not mean he is coming from the sky. Here, Pali spirit of understanding or interpreting this image that comes from ancient wisdom, that the Buddha rose above the fights, he rose above the violence. You cannot resolve the problem unless you rise above the problem. You will be still struggling with the problem. That's where we see Dr. Ambedkar's genius. He rose above the problem of divides, caste divides, gender divides, religious polarization. His mind was not influenced by that. Dr. Ambedkar rose above those polarization, therefore he could able to see the solutions. That's the spirit one needs to see while we are talking about influence of Buddhist values on Dr. Ambedkar's thinking. Secondly, we encounter this extremely important message from the Buddha to the Vajjins. When Ajatshatru came and asked how I can conquer this tribe, Buddha said, you cannot conquer that tribe because they meet frequently with the democratic assemblies. They make decisions through consensus. They respect their elders and traditions. They protect women from violence and they honor their spiritual heritage. So, this principle sort of directly influence, or we can see how when Dr. Ambedkar said that that experience is not new to Indian civilization, there was the enriching historical processes in decision making and protecting minority rights and respecting every community that Buddha was trying to deliver the governance through Parinibbana Sutta when he was addressing to the Vajjis. We are aware of the historical heritages that Dr. Ambedkar was trying to borrow while making Indian Constitution. So, uh, you see, again, when I try to say that the Ambedkar's Buddhist constitutionalism, again, I'm not talking about particular religion, but as I said in my very first slides, the influences and the historicity that India shares, Dr. Ambedkar was very aware. So he is speaking with that spirit. And on December 17, 1946, Dr. Ambedkar addressed to the Constitution Assembly, he said that the Constitution can provide only the organs of state such as legislature, the executive, judiciary. The factor on which the working of the organs of the state depend are the people and the political parties they will have. Who can say how the people will behave? That's the important question. It's not only laws, it's your intention, which I'm going to say in a while. So, this is the concern led him to emphasize what we call the constitutional morality. Mere laws, mere reading into the lines and interpreting them from our own selfish gain or for the interest of our selfish group of communities or caste based communities is not the spirit of constitution. Hmm? That's the structure would be, he argued that the formal constitutional structure were meaningless without the moral character of those who operate them. It's extremely important to understand those who are running the constitution, what their intentions are. And then we see those influences of morals on Indian constitution. For example, in Vasala Sutta, as I said, you are equal and you are not discriminated on the basis of your birth. Like, for example, in Kalama Sutta, Buddha said that don't believe because you have heard from the ages and from the thousands of years. Don't believe because sages are saying. Don't believe because generations are believing in it. So, that spirit comes close to your freedom of speech. You speak, you echo your individual agreements and disagreements on the basis of nonviolence. which is critical, which has an introspective and the evaluating, examining spirit. That's the Constitution represents. You see, in Article 25 and 46, again, I'm not going into details of the article, but these are the influences that are non-discriminatory, equalizing, and fraternal. So, question arises: what do we mean by constitutional morality? Constitutional morality, as conceived by Dr. Ambedkar, is not merely adherence to the constitutional text, but is the cultivation of those moral and civil virtues, how we behave in the society, that makes constitutional governance possible and effective. So it encompasses the written spirits and the animates the written law. For example, the ethical culture, civic habits, moral consensus that transforms the legal framework into a living democratic institution, not merely shouting the slogans of democracy and being undemocratic in your intention. That's not constitutional morality. Everyone speaks, when they speak about constitution, about equality, but are we experiencing that in our lived experiences? That's where constitutional morality comes. So Dr. Ambedkar defines it as a paramount reverence for the form of the constitution, enforcing obedience to authority, acting under within these forms, yet combined with the habits of the open resistance to the authority of anyone's, whether judges, legislature, executive, who transgress the bounds which the constitution has set to their authority, because constitution put you in authority which obliged by your constitutional morality with your sort of the democratic institutions. While addressing the public meeting at the legislative chamber in Trivandrum, June 1950, Dr. Ambedkar said, if parliamentary system of government was to succeed both the people and uh, uh, the government should observe certain morals or the conventions of the constitution. So, second important aspect of constitutional morality is the fraternity against the divided communal societies. When we use the word like fraternities, we need to understand why he is using word fraternity. He is using fraternity word against the communal divisions. If we do not have that brotherly or the humanhood present in the living experiences, that would read fraternity as an idea. Fraternity here is not an idea. Fraternity is a lived experience. What Dr. Ambedkar sort of, I will tell you, or going into later, he connects that with the Buddha's notion of Maitri, loving kindness, which you lived and experienced. So, in his speech in Constitutional Assembly in 1948, Dr. Ambedkar borrowed this concept from George Grote analysis of ancient Athens, defining it as a paramount reverence for the forms of the constitution. Though I was saying he was aware of the global influences, but he did not anchor this spirit in this man's vision. He anchors the spirit of fraternity in Buddha's wisdom, calling it as a Maitri. While he was addressing that, he is saying that constitution's text must be internalized of its democratic spirit. Ambedkar saw that constitutional morality and fraternity as an essential bulwark against the communal forces threatening to the fragment of India. Having witnessed to the horrors of partition and understood the religious divisions could tear apart the social fabric, in Constitutional Assembly debate in 1949, Dr. Ambedkar said, what we must do is to hold fast to constitutional methods of achieving our social and economic objectives. We must abandon the bloody methods of revolution. These methods are nothing but the grammar of anarchy. That's his warning. And the sooner We abandon that, better for us. So he believed that fraternity as a force to govern the country. So uh, again, those values, if you see or look at the preamble of Constitution, Dr. Ambedkar connected the notion of fraternity with national unity. Hmm? These are the unifying factors, not to go into cultural hegemonies or religious polarization, but he was evoking the middle path. His efforts for all Indians, for all faiths, could participate as an equal citizen bound together by constitutional values rather than religious or caste affiliation. Rather than religious and caste affiliation. So, this is the spirit than the influence of any particular religion, as I was trying to say. And he stated that in India, why he was emphasizing religion must not be a force to govern the country, because he was aware, and he stated that in India, bhakti or hero worship plays an important role in politics, unequal to the magnitude by the part it plays in the politics of any other country. India is more dominant in those forces. So there is nothing wrong in being grateful to a great man who have rendered lifelong services to the country. He is very aware, he is not denying someone's contribution. But there are limits to gratefulness. This caution is far more necessary for India, especially because bhakti can easily lead to the hero worship. And that is the undemocratic and could be a danger to the democracy. We see he was contextualizing and studying, as I was saying, the global context. He was aware of the ancient and the modern processes of formation of the constitutions and the spirits of various countries across the world. Again, I'm not going into detail, but if I just cite you some important figures in the history, you see in ancient Greek, the Aristotle said that constitution as a way of life, but that needs to align with the practical wisdom and the civic virtues. Civilians has to have the moral virtues. Mere constitution agreement is not enough, but you have to have the good order of good laws, or the what Greeks call is the kalokagithia, that is the nobility of character. Hmm? You should have a moral character in it. We see similar spirits in the Solon's constitutional wisdom in ancient Athens. He was saying that we should provide a law, and we are making a law where all worked it out that they also should have no cause of complaints. Your law should provide the service to the citizens where they have at least minimum complaints, if not total uh, freedom from or the if not no complaints. Of course, we will have complaints, but the minimum complaints. There shouldn't be a complaints like rape, insecurity of women. There shouldn't be a complaint like a public lynching. There shouldn't be a complaint like the uh, public humiliation of an individual on the basis of their color or caste. That's what he Solons means by no complaints. You see that in a Roman world also, he said the community of interest, the agreement about the laws. You run the community, most importantly, with the principles that constitutional morality requires voluntarily submission of laws that set you to the genuine freedom. So you surrender to the laws or you obey the laws so that you get freedom. You become free from the slavery. Here we also see the Rousseau in European world. He was saying that man is born free and everywhere he should be free and free from the chains of the slaves. That's what he called the concept of civil religion. In your civil society, no one should feel that I am lower and I am oppressed by my birth or by my gender or by my economic status. Like you see, violence becomes natural in India now on the basis of caste. If you are rich, you think you have a right to command the poor in the farm, in the field work, or in the industries, or in the offices. We take for granted their dignity on the basis of caste. That's not a civil religion. Hmm? And of course, we see as he was closely studying with John Dewey, I'm not citing previous uh, Aristotle and Solon's and the Roman Empire's influence on our constitution. Dr. Ambedkar was aware of that. That's what I'm saying. But Dewey was the person with whom he has a personal connection or he studied with him. And of course, we see that influence on Dr. Ambedkar's writing everywhere, like about democratic faith, democracy as a way of life, not just political system, learning by doing, constitutional morality developing through democratic practice, a great community that is participated by all citizens. I am I often say in the making of India as a great country, or what we call today as a Vishwaguru, if we have to make India a great country, how can we become a great country if majority of people is not contributing in the process of nation building through education, through their skill works, through their talent, and all the means? So more than 50% population of country on the basis of caste or religion are not able to participate into making of its fullest potential. Sooner the better we realize that limitation to make a great community, India as a great community, social intelligence, that the scientific experimental approach to social reforms, social individualism, balance between your individual rights and social responsibility. These are specific ideas that we see that has a deep influence, like the reserve seats. Reservation is a big topic. Again, I'm not going into that. Often we think it is based on the economic status or just for Dalits. That's the stereotype rhetoric we have adopted since independence. That's not true. Reservation is a representation, it's an inclusion, it's making a country as democratic as possible, as I was saying, to make every citizens and every caste representation in the participation of nation building. That's the spirit of reservation. It's a representation. It's not based on your mere how rich you are, but over the period of thousands of years, have you given chance or opportunities to build your nation as a great country, as a great community? If I use Devian vocab, while I'm at Harvard, I haven't seen a majority of people from marginalized communities or caste representing the powerful position even in the diasporas. There are, but there are very few. Hmm? What is natural for privileged classes and caste in India to imagine to study abroad is not the common case for underprivileged and the lower caste people in India. So that's what I meant as a representation, as an inclusion. Hmm? Is everything okay? So that was the synthesis that Dr. Ambedkar was trying to make while evoking the spirit of uh, genuine civilizational and historical processes in the making of India's constitution. As I was saying, Ambedkar was very aware of coming from the own experience, born into formal untouchable community. Fraternity for him means a sense of common brotherhood to all Indians, because we do not see that in a caste based divided society. Ambedkar declared in his final constitutional speech What distinguishes his concept of fraternity was his recognition that it requires dismantling of hierarchical caste system and entirely sort of reforming it. He argued that hierarchical structure institutionalized division, making genuine fraternity impossible within the framework. He was not saying that mere in constitution. He wrote annihilation of caste in 1936. We got constitution in 1949. It's more than 20 years sort of long thought process that Dr. Ambedkar was fighting for its freedom, from political freedom and spiritual freedom. That without social and economic liberation, the political liberation may prove a tyranny to the backward and the depressed classes. So that's the tool Dr. Ambedkar was trying to use in making Indian Constitution as a chief architect of constitution for the process of social transformation. So democracy he saw as a tool for the transformatory process. The social transformation is not a mere form of government, as he says, is a primarily mode of associated living for conjoint communicated experiences. He famously warned when he gave constitution that we are going to enter a life of contradiction. In the politics, we will have equality, and in social and economics life, we will have inequality. How long shall we continue to deny equality in the social and economic life? If we continue to deny it for long, we will do so only by putting our political democracy in peril, in danger. Hmm? So that's what he meant democracy as a force of social transformation. So this perspective led him to advocate for the robust constitutional protection for all and marginalized communities in particular. That includes, as I say, the reservations. This measure recognized that formal equality before the law was insufficient without material intervention to encounter centuries of structural disadvantages. So, fraternity uh, and uh, Dr. Ambedkar's vision for Indian constitution when he was choosing the words that inclusion of fraternity is not an accident but the deliberate choice that reflected in Ambedkar's convictions that without fraternity the other values will be unattainable. He famously, as I was saying, united the spirit of fraternity with the unity and the integrity of nation. Again, there are articles like 17, 15, 16, 25, 330, 332, 46 that promotes these spirits. So in revealing the exchange during the assembly's debate on 1949, when question was asked why such social provisions were necessary in a constitution, that's the question put before Dr. Ambedkar. Dr. Ambedkar responded that the Constitution is not merely a document for transforming or transformation of power, it is a vehicle for social and economic transformation of the country. And while he was evoking this spirit, we have to understand that his struggle for constitutional fraternity, as he says, I wanted to highlight that it is a difficult thing to achieve. Mere speaking good words and lofty words about constitution is not enough. He is aware for Indians and for the caste-based India or the polarized communities, it is difficult thing to achieve. How difficult it is can be realized from the facts that the wars between the nations and the constant border tensions that we experience today. The question is Indians are Indians fit for democracy? When he was raising that doubt in his mind, his answer was he said that they must be made fit for democracy. What does it mean? They must be made fit for democracy. That's for we have to, as an Indian, I'm not speaking for particular caste or community. As an Indian, it is our moral responsibility to make us fit for democracy. And that's the constant struggle. It is not easy thing to achieve. It is difficult thing to achieve. Therefore, he anchored that, as I was said earlier, the fraternity, the spirit he anchored into Buddha's Maitri, the loving kindness. What sustains equality and liberty is fellow feeling, which he did not borrowed from French revolutionaries. He called fraternity. The word fraternity is not adequate expression. That's not the vision that encapsulates Dr. Ambedkar. The proper term, what the Buddha called Maitri, as he says. Fraternity is therefore the root for democracy. The spirit that transcends your caste barriers, the spirit that reflects in your day to day life, in your attitude, in your associated lived experience. These are the challenges before us. So, friends, as we are approaching 75 years of Dr. Ambedkar's vision, it is under test. When I say under test, it's under challenge. Uh, if you can lift 25 kg weight, and if I give you 50 kg weight, your muscle power is under challenge. Though you are capable of lifting even a thousands kg of weight, we have to practice about it, right? That's where Indian Constitution now became a responsibility to practice by each individuals, each citizen of this nation, so that country becomes powerful, so that country becomes balwan, country becomes stronger. So today we grapple with these questions, where we experience the rising caste atrocities, religious polarization, and economic inequalities. We must ask, what would Dr. Ambedkar Buddhist approach would suggest? What his approach would invite us to transform that? I'm not again going into details, but data speaks how Dalits or tribal communities are minorities facing the alarming rates of violence. Hmm? The Crime Records Bureau reports and expresses the thousands of caste-based crimes annually. More than, I think, 45,000 cases are reported annually. They are reported data. But if you divide by 45,000 by 365 days of the year, per day more than 10 atrocities has been performed in India based on caste or religion. So Ambedkar sort of anticipates this crisis, and his final speech, he said that however good a constitution may be, it is sure to turn out bad because those who are called to work on it happens to be a bad lot. However bad is a constitution it may be, it may turn out to be a good constitution. Those who are called to work on it happen to be a good lot. So it depends who are running and interpreting the constitution. So the problem, he argued, is not constitutional but moral. It's not a fault of constitution. It's a fault of our intentions and the moral values that we are cherishing and nourishing close to our heart. The absence, what Buddha called the sammaditthi, right understanding, or right sankapa, right intention. So these are the path forward that Dr. Ambedkar would suggest on the basis of right speech or the right intention. We have to go through this transformative process through educational transformation, that the constitutional literacy in all school, teaching Indian history that honestly addresses caste oppression and teaches individuals that caste is a barrier for making India great, or the religion or religious polarity is a barrier in making India great. Buddhist philosophy as a part of moral education that teaches liberty, equality, fraternity, dignity, and justice. economic justice. For example, the spirit that Chakravarti Sutta emphasizes, based on the universal basic income to eliminate poverty, land distribution based on the Buddhist principle of non greed. Land laborers do not have land, their wages are not given, and sort of they are threatened, and there are cases of violence if they demand their even wages for what they have invested. We have encountered such cases. That shouldn't be happening, right? And workers cooperative inspired by the Sangha democracy. Sangha here I means by the Buddhist Sangha, because Sangha word can be interpreted in many ways in our time. So Sangha democracy here means the equality. You are cooperating every workers or every labor's dignity with the contribution of their labor. Political reforms, right? The proportion of representation to ensure minority voices, citizen assemblies for the major policy making decisions, transparent governance inspired by the Sangha decision making processes. I'm writing here in the Constitution Buddhist because I just wanted to focus what I meant here. Sangha is the Buddhist Sangha. Hmm? The social transformative process that are following the process of intercaste marriage, incentives, reservation policies extended to the private sectors, cultural programs celebrating Dalit Bhujan heritage to integrate the mainstream culture. Again, here I'm not emphasizing the particular Dalit Bhujan community. What I meant here by every community's culture, their art practices, their singing practices, their belief practices should be acknowledged as a mainstream belief practices, not just a dominant and hegemony of any religion. So these are the non-violent means through constitutional non-violent revolution through the constitutional means that Dr. Ambedkar emphasizes. Ambedkar consciously recognized the middle path, the balanced way of achieving his goal. He says that I prefer the constitutional method of achieving my goal. This method may be slow, but it is true. This strategy he adopts from the Buddhist spirit. It is so unique that Dr. Ambedkar, which his talk was published in Marathi in 1941, he says that the Buddha can only help in establishing democracy. Therefore, it is important to remember the Buddha and take his medicine for cleansing the political, social lifeblood of Hindus. Therefore, we think that people should chant the greatest mantra of establishment of democracy, Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, Dhammang Saranang Gacchami, Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. While he was giving his address in the celebrating of Buddha Jayanti in 1941, that is what he said. Why he was saying that Buddha Jayanti? Because when we celebrate other Jayantis, how many people in India, I'm not against celebrating other great leaders' Jayantis or spiritual leaders' Jayantis, it's important. But how many Indians are aware about Buddha Jayanti as a general principle? He declared the public holiday, the government holiday on the day, just to remind the Buddha's message to the country. It disappeared in its own birthland, not as a religion, but as a spirit of democracy, as a spirit of equality, as a spirit of castelessness. That's what Dr. Ambedkar meant when he was referring to the Buddha. Of course, Buddhism can be a closed religion or the faith religion for some people, and they should not impose that on others. That's not what Dr. Ambedkar meant here. Otherwise, because Dr. Ambedkar converted to Buddhism, he is emphasizing Buddhism, that will be misunderstanding of his statement. He said that in 1941. He converted into 1956, more than 10 years later. But why he is emphasizing that? To emphasizing the democratic wisdoms, the democratic forces in Indian civilization. That's what he meant when he said that. So that's the model for social change, which is a gradual inclusion of all marginalized communities. We have to address the institutional change that Buddha created a new institutions against the hierarchies. So that's how we have to create an institutional change that will build a new political sort of ethos for the parties, educational institutes, and social organization, cultural transformation. Caste is a part of Indian culture. We have to cultivate a casteless culture. Hmm? Whenever we speak about any individuals, first vision or the first view, we try to lens or zoom from which community he is coming from or she is coming from. Therefore, his interpretations or his stories is based on his caste. If I am uh, from a such and such caste, or therefore he is interpreting the story. And therefore, even today, because Dr. Ambedkar comes from the lower caste, the Indian constitution is sort of seen through certain zoom lenses, while its interpretation or spirits or understanding, that's the false view, that's the mithya view. Dr. Ambedkar wrote Indian constitution not for his community, not for any particular religion, but for all Indian citizens. Those who live in India, those who hold Indian passport, those who hold Aadhaar card, it applies to each one of them. That's the cultural transformation based on castelessness and the preamble spirit. That's the inclusivity Dr. Ambedkar wanted to bring when he was adopting the means of democratic ethos from ancient wisdom. On the basis of caste, what we experience is this struggle. Hmm? Your water struggle, your temple entry struggle, and so on and so forth, educational institutions, your discrimination in high level services or low level services. I need not to speak about that. We all aware of it. But Dr. Ambedkar was highlighting this spirit of the Buddha, where he included Sunita. That's one of the story this of sweeper who became a reverend teacher and even a arhata and enlightened in his life. That's the spirit Dr. Ambedkar want to express when he is talking about uh, inclusivity. He's not mere an institutional maker, a constitutional maker, but his spirit goes even beyond constitutionalism. He's a great man of vision, where he says that Buddha's method was to change the mind of man, to make his moral so that he becomes just. He becomes a just man. Just man meaning here who do not discriminate, who do not prejudice other person on the basis of their religion, gender, or caste. Law can only prohibit, it cannot compel. Law can make a man act but not think or feel. He says that in Buddha and his Dhamma. Look at the spirit of his democratic mind, even while interpreting Buddhism itself. I don't want to say that, but yes, India borrows this spirit from the great king Ashoka. I'm not going into those qualities, but when you look at YouTube, just test these principles like generosity, moral conduct, sacrifice, honesty, gentleness, non anger, non violent. Are they match with our present rulers, whoever they are? Whoever the political leaders or the leaders we are considering to making of 21st century India, are they meeting these criteria that Dr. Ambedkar was expected? You see, the building structure is inspired by Sachi Stupa. This is a president's chair. On this president chairs, there is a Ashok Chakra. There is a standing Buddha image. This is the constitutional symbols that Dr. Ambedkar wanted to communicate to the nation to inspire their spirit to dismantle the prejudices. We see the national emblem comes from the rule that Indian history cherishes based on love and compassion and wisdom and examination of truths. We cherish that to make India a great country, a country that can really be a landmark or the exemplary country to show to the rest of the world. If you see, even in Buddhist countries, though they are majority in the Buddhist population, we see the problem, like in Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Thailand. But how Dr. Ambedkar was inculcating or inviting the spirit in constitution is so unique. Ambedkar's synthesis of Buddhism sort of goes beyond even the mere interpreting of sort of Buddha spirit on the basis of religion per se. Hmm? We are fortunate to have Dr. Ambedkar in our country. I think this spirit is extremely needed, what I was trying to articulate, even to the Buddhist countries like Myanmar, Sri Lanka, and Thailand. This is the great revolution, eternal revolution that Dr. Ambedkar launched while giving the great document like Constitution. And he says that the Constitution is not a destination but a journey. Laws alone cannot create the justice. Only the cultivation of wisdom, compassion, and courage in the hearts of people can build the society we dream of. So these are the path forward, these are the challenges that we have to address while understanding Constitution and holding Constitution close to our heart, which inspires individual transformation, institutional reforms, cultural revolution based on non-violence and equality and dignity, global solidarity that India's struggle for justice must be connected and compared with the social movement, all the movements worldwide, and eternal vigilance. Like democracy and justice require constant effort. Like you practice your own evolution, country has to have a constant vigilance on the basis of these principles as the path itself. So this is the message that Dr. Ambedkar would like to communicate us today, that hatred is not conquered by the hatred, but the hatred is conquered only by love. This is the eternal law. In this eternal law lies both our constitutional morality and our hope for a just society. Dr. Ambedkar showed us the way. The choice to walk or not, that remains up to us. Again, he warned that the bloody revolution must be avoided and the grammar of anarchy, hero worship of personalities derived from India's love of the holy man needs to be examined and needs to be understood. In the section 8, in the third reading of draft of constitution, Dr. Ambedkar said, will history repeat itself? Is it this thought fills me with anxiety? It is not that India did not know what democracy is. A study of Buddhist Bhikkhu Sangha discloses that Sangha knew and observed all the rules of parliamentary procedures known to modern time. The democratic system of India has lost. Will she lose it a second time? We cannot afford to lose it for a second time. And that's the power of Indian Constitution. That's the power of Dr. Ambedkar's vision that holds world's largest democracy still successful. With all its limits, we are successful as a democracy, but we can do better. We can do much, 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 much better to make India as a true democratic country based on associated living, deeper harmony, and without oppression and discrimination. That's the governing principle Dr. Ambedkar would like us to sort of invite us. So, Dr. Ambedkar said history shows that where ethics and economics come in conflict, victory always goes with economics. So we talk about development of nation only on the basis of economy, on the basis of how much wealth we have earned, and ignoring the economic equality on the basis of the societal status, on the basis of social emancipation. This insight challenges us to ensure that our economic systems must align with our ethical commitment. So, the challenge that resonates with the nation's idea of development, we have to analyze that on the basis of social equality and its vision of leaving no one behind. So, this is the constitutional spirit that Dr. Ambedkar has to call upon. The Buddha's message of equality, liberty, and fraternity is the foundation of our constitution. But a constitution, however perfect, is worth nothing if those who implement it lack moral characters. We have to implement the moral character in it. The real work of building a just society begins not in the parliament but in the human heart. That's the call Dr. Ambedkar calls upon. Thank you very much. I hope this overall survey help you, and I invite you to go to slides if you look it later on the YouTube. But once again, thank you very much for your patient listening.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Santosh Rawat, sir. We heard a lot more today, I think, about Buddhism. We know about Buddhism, but not this much deep today you enlightened us. And already this is time already 60, 1 hour already. And answers. You can ask and introduce yourself first.
Hello. I'm sorry
Yeah.
to have missed the first part of first half of the lecture. It was very enlightening, whatever I heard. It
Thank
was
you,
a
sir.
presentation, and I was wondering if he has written any books, and also I would like to have contact information uh, so I can get in touch with him later. And also, uh, if he has all the material in a book, then he may not mind sharing the slides. Perhaps it would be wonderful to have such an enlightening presentation uh, copied by other people as well. And lastly, I just would like uh, him to explain the difference between fraternity and maitri. They sound very similar, but what is the difference that you notice? Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you very much, sir, for your kind comments. And it's a very important and significant question. Fraternity is inclined towards the fraternity, what Dr. Ambedkar called is an organic ligament that holds the society together. Like this hand is held together by this joint, and this hand is held together by this joint. So our body is aligned with the ligaments. And Dr. Ambedkar called is the organic ligaments of the society. That is the fraternity, he said. But fraternity is often or might be misunderstood that because fraternity also led the blood revolution in the European context. Dr. Ambedkar do not want to borrow those bloody violences. Therefore, he said that it is not a adequate word for me to define what I really meant by fraternity. This Western word probably is inequipped what he wanted to envision by fraternity. Therefore, he said, I would like to borrow the word from the Buddha's dictionary called Maitri, Metta. Metta is a Pali word meaning me atta. You are exactly like me. You have a blood, bone, flesh. You do not like diseases. You do not like pain and suffering. Likewise, I also do not like diseases, pain, and suffering. That is at personal level. But at social level, you do not like oppression. You don't want to be oppressed on the basis of your birth or gender, and your dignity must not be undermined. Likewise, I also want equal dignity, however or whatever caste or the culture or the gender or the religion I am born in. That's the spirit, goes much beyond mere political framing of word called political philosophy calls it fraternity. So it entwines both moral, constitutional, political, and one might even say, sir, spiritual ethos that Buddha has to communicate. That's what envision Dr. Ambedkar's spirit of fraternity.
Sorry, I missed the word you said.
Metta,
Um,
sir, metta. Metta, metta, that's a Pali word.
oh, yeah.
Sanskrit is Maitri.
Yeah, but somehow, well, it seems connected with Mitra, which is a friend. And I
Yeah,
think personally, I um, I like the word Mitra uh, to establish relationship with any individual, all whether it's a brother or sister or mother or father or son, daughter. First thing I would like to be for them um, or anybody else to be a good friend. And after that comes other nuances. So, um, so I feel that Maitri is like good friend, and fraternity also. They used the word fraternity in the French Revolution, fraternity, equality, and what else? The third one. Anyway, but so
yes, thank you.
kind
Yeah,
of
yes,
uh,
yeah.
very similar. So that's why I was trying to discern what is the finer point in the difference between the two.
Difference is, sir, is a personal and social. Yes, you can be a friend to everyone. You can have friends from all caste and all religion, and which is important. But individual has to transform at not merely on individualistic level, but also at the social, political, and cultural level. And you carry that ethos, that spirit, that sort of morality as a mode of operandi in society. So that's the civil society has a different sort of spirit which transcends mere individualistic approach, mere personal approach. So Dr. Ambedkar is a great friend to the India. That does not mean he is great friend only to the caste communities. He is a great friend to every citizen of India. That's the spirit of Maitri. Of course, he is a personal friend, or you can be a personal friend to many, but that not necessarily will translate as a governing force, as a democratic spirit. And that's what Indian minds needs to understand. So at the greater level, we have to adopt the spirit that transcends your personal likes and dislikes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Now,
Sir,
the
maybe I would like to take if someone has a question,
Sir,
but I
sir,
would
sir,
like to
already
interact
time
with
is
you.
going. So please give the chance to others also.
Yeah.
yeah, but I was just asking for the book if he has written, and
So it's a new area that I have to synthesize. Probably I will have to write it.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. There are the sort of the patches I try to synthesize to form this entire presentation.
And if you could share the contact information.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Hello.
Mhm.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
I'm here, sir, from Himachal Pradesh, engineer
Sir,
Ahmad
please.
Ghosh,
Yes, sir.
and Jai Bhim to everybody. Uh,
Can you be please brief with the question? I heard
Yes,
your
yes,
speech
yes.
and
I'm
your
coming.
stories in last
I'm
presentation also.
coming to that. We are thankful to you, sir, for awareing us for the history of the social justice. And social justice has roots in philosophy and religious traditions. Social justice is concerned about human rights and equal distribution of resources. It gained prominence during Industrial Revolution as a response to social inequalities and expanded to address issues like discrimination and marginalization. As you said, sir, जितने दार्शनिक हुए, you see social reformers हुए, they fought for the poverty, exploitation, unequal access to resources, and particularly the marginalized and disadvantaged. So they fought also for ideal society and equity and economic considerations, and also for fair distribution of wealth and to provide the opportunities. So, sir, as you said that uh, after 75 years of independence, the atrocity graph is still on the rising trend. And that way, my question is, and that what are the main reasons of social injustice? Means what are the main roots of the social injustice, and how can these be removed? If not, then why? Because yug beat gaye, as you said that casteless society in India could not be achieved yet. So over to you, sir. Now, thanks. Jai Bharat. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. A very brief response to that. That question is for all of us and close to each one of us and everyone's heart in India. I must say, yes, they are rising and they are sort of taking a more and more cruel shape. I think I would say, therefore, I instigated and emphasizing, I could have speak on just aspect of constitution purely from political philosophical side. Why I chose to speak on constitutional morality, these are two simple ethos I wanted to emphasize, that it's not mere laws, as Dr. Ambedkar says, but the moral education, sort of even the education on the basis of the aesthetic education, the beauty of human relationship, the kalyana, and the intention that needs to emphasize. And I think, yes, we often hear the news and our mind conditions by those news, but there need to be a community of people, not just particular community. When I say community is a caste community, there is a community of Indians who should uphold these intentions and moral, so that it becomes a compelling power on the mainstream culture. And we have to solidify that solidarity, that we have to enlarge that circumference as big as possible to compel the rulers or the governors, governing bodies, so that their intention is sort of undermined on the basis of discrimination or injustices. That is only the way, sir. Any other question, please?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Is there any questions? Please ask deeply. Otherwise, we can
Jevin sir,
already. Okay.
Jevin sir,
Okay.
am I audible?
Yeah, Nupur,
Yes,
please.
yes, madam.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you're audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Sir, actually, I think I have missed out a little bit of thing from your lecture. So I just wanted to recall you that you just have said that one individual should transform themselves into socially, politically, and culturally. So how better one individual should transform themselves through these aspects, I mean, socially, politically, culturally. So how better one should do that?
It's also significant question, ma'am. I think when we are ethically aware, we know that that is not good. What is going on around me is wrong. But it is impossible for an individual to change the entire structure or the systems as uh, 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 highlighted by uh, Captain Santosh ji earlier. It's not one man's job. We have to have a solidification and the strengthening lot of individuals that forms the community. For example, Buddha Sangha. Sangha was inclusive. All caste, communities, genders are included in Buddha Sangha. But Sangha was not a party. Sangha was not the sectarian understanding of spirit. It was earlier in, if you read the early text of Buddhism, early history, Sangha was not an organization. It was a community of people associated living who were sharing the common values, common ideals. Again, that's another subject, but that community becomes a compelling force on rest of the individuals. Oh, Sunita can become a reverend teacher. Sunita, Sunit, or the Chandalika, untouchable woman, can become a masterly Theri, the great woman, and Therigatha. Therigatha is the stories of that. So these individuals transform themselves at such a level where they are broke through mere individualistic approach of society or approach of values. It's not just for my friend, it's not just for my family, it is not just for my caste community, but all humanity. Dr. Ambedkar used the word manuski for that, right? The humanity. And that humanity, if needs to transform, we have to form a community for that. So that's what I meant when I say that the process of individual needs to be addressed also to the social, political, economic, cultural, and all spheres of life. Mere me being successful is not enough. You can be a chief minister, you can be a collector, you can be a professor, you can be a prime minister, you can be a president. But still, you will be framed or zoomed through the lenses of caste and gender. That's not a success, social success. That's not a cultural success. That's not a even political success. We have to dismantle those frames to acknowledge that each individual has an equal capability to attain Buddhahood or enlightenment. Likewise, each individual has a capacity to become an institution or to compel rest of the individuals to form a community. Why I'm saying this? Because the men like or the people or the person like Buddha or Ambedkar or Raidas or Kabir or Phule or all those whatever ideals we cherish to our heart, they do not born every day. Therefore, individual in our time needs to form a community who can compel other individuals for social, political, economic, and cultural transformation.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Maybe last question, if there is any.
Hello,
Sir.
I'm audible.
Sir,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
audible.
You're very much
Hello.
audible, sir.
I'm audible,
Hello.
sir.
Yes, Vinay, sir. You're audible, sir.
Good, good. Santosh bhai, very thought-provoking talk by you. Very,
Thank
very
you.
interesting. Thank you very much. But I have one question. It is a logically Ambedkar put the liberty, equality, fraternity in a framework, socio-economic, cultural transformation through these three important principles to form a new citizen, a नया नागरिक बनाने के लिए यही यही बंधुत्व के रूप से बताया, यही हमारा अंडरस्टैंडिंग है। इसके बाद क्या होता हो रहा है, अम्बेडकर का पूरा मिशन है ना, प्रबुद्ध भारत। प्रबुद्ध भारत बनाने का ये इंस्ट्रूमेंट, डेमोक्रेसी इज द वेरी इंस्ट्रूमेंट टू ट्रांसफॉर्म द सोसाइटी to become a enlightened India. It is a very important area is there. Can you connect with these 1, 2, 3 points? How can we reach out to address the issue of the Prabuddha Bharat? This is my long pending question with me. Can you put a light on that, please?
Very briefly, sir, because of the time constraint. Yes, Dr. Ambedkar says that liberty, equality are the two important pillars of democracy to form new citizens. But these two classical principles, political principles, or the spirits called equality and liberty are not enough. Because if you are liberal to define equality, you can say if you are earning 50 rupees, you are above poverty line. And if you are earning 45 rupees, then you are below poverty line. So I have a liberty to define your economic level, to define your literacy level. And therefore, if I am over liberal in terms of power that dominates the democratic principles, I can misinterpret the notion of equality. And liberty, therefore, can swallow the equality. I will say, oh, you are not rich because you earn 50 rupees per day. So you are rich man. But capitalist or the rich man's 1 rupiah is not equal to the poor man's 1 rupiah. If they spend 10,000 rupees, it affects their entire family system. But someone spends 10 crore rupees, it doesn't even affect their system. So that's how liberty can swallow the equality. On the other hand, Dr. Ambedkar says equality is not a fiction. You cannot say we all are equal, we all are human. That's not enough because we are unequal in terms of our inheritance. Like someone might comes from ministerial family, their parents must be judges and the collectors and the film industry owners and the hero and heroines for generations. And if you say, oh no, we all are equal, that makes no sense. There are many upcoming heroes and directors and musicians who did not even have a formal opportunity to express their artistic spirit, became a superstar, right? So in we are unequal in terms of our inheritance. We do not inherit the caste privileges, the economic privileges, and the civilizational or the property inheritages. We do not have that. People are poor and still struggling because they don't have inheritance. So he says, Dr. Ambedkar would say that yes, equality might sound like a fiction, एक कहानी एक उपन्यास जैसा लग सकता है, but that's not the story. Though we are not equal in terms of our individual capacities, in terms of our inheritance, and in terms of our cultural practices, that does not mean equality must not be practiced. Equality must be the governing force. That's what Dr. Ambedkar says.
Okay.
And that true principle can be anchored in the fraternity, in the bonding, our our struggles, our pain together. There is no Muslim tears, there is no Hindu tears, there is no Dalit tears, and there is no man tears, and there is no woman tears. Tears are tears. Injustice is injustice. Discrimination is discrimination. Whoever against it is performed. And that needs to anchor into the mutual sympathy, what he calls fraternity. Therefore, I was responding to Sainath sir that fraternity goes deeper to the Maitri, Buddha's Maitri. And that was Dr. Ambedkar was trying to establish, trying to connect to form a deep, true democracy, not mere in the forms, but the lived experience. That's the connection with these three principles with true citizen and democracy, formation of deep democracy, sir.
Okay, thank you, bhai. Thank you.
Okay, but I once again congratulate my friends and all of you, really, my friends, to joining for this talk. And I congratulate all of you for supporting the celebration of this 75th anniversary of Indian Constitution. It must be upheld than ever before. Thank you very much. I'm so happy to speak to you this evening.
Excuse me, sir.
Thank
Hello.
you, thank you, sir. So thank you, sir. Once again, we thank you very much to you and also
Do you have
participants who
something
joined. And
quickly,
yes,
madam?
sir. Yes, sir.
What was the Nupur? Do you have anything, something in particular?
Sir, if any question we come across and if we feel some obstacle to understand certain concepts, so how better we can connect you further? Could you please help?
Ravi, you can reach out to the Ravi, and Ravi can certainly pass out to me whatever he wants to. You have query.
Sir, sir, I will give them my number in chat
Yes,
box.
yes,
Anybody can uh,
yes.
call me
Sure, sir.
anytime.
Sure, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Hello,
Thank you.
Jevim sir. Hello. Hello.
Yes,
Sir. Really, the session is very thought-provoking, sir. Hello.
thank you.
Uh-huh. Actually, sir, I have a question. Hello. But I think that. Hello.
Praveen,
Sir,
Praveen.
I'm audible, sir. Hello.
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, sir, I have a question, but I know that we are running out of time. Hello.
Yes,
Sir, as you mentioned that constitutional morality should live in our minds, but actually, sir, nowadays it seems absent. So, sir, can this be considered a serious issue nowadays to foster Indian democracy? Can you elaborate on it, please, sir? Hello.
well, I said that if you go through YouTube, some of my slides, Praveen, I was talking about the intention and the moral ethos for the same. So yes, is a state of mind must be a democratic, but when I use the word mind, I don't want to idealize it. I'm not saying as
Okay.
a philosophy. I'm saying in a pragmatic way. As Dr. Ambedkar himself says, caste is a notion of mind. He did not mean in a Gandhian sense that when last man will transform the caste prejudices, then India will be free from caste. It's a very pragmatic and practical approach that he took, but also he not only taught that, he practiced it and made a provisions for it. You see what I mean? He made a constitutional provisions. He emphasizes the constitutional morality, and he also emphasizes that as a governing principle. They are laws. You cannot practice caste in India. Caste atrocity is unconstitutional and illegal. It's a crime, but it's happening, right? But
Yeah.
there are
Yes, sir.
provisions that Dr. Ambedkar made. Yes, it is unconstitutional. Article 17 or
Yes.
15. You cannot do that. But when I say I cannot kill someone, I cannot steal something, that is a punishable offense, but still it's happening, right? So
Yes.
while addressing those prejudices in mind, Dr. Ambedkar made a provisions. Agar if there are no provisions, we would have keep on performing our actions of atrocities, caste atrocities, and gender violence or domestic violence, right? But there are laws now. You cannot do that. You will be punished for that. That is to emphasize. So this both goes in a pragmatic governing sense in Dr. Ambedkar's philosophy or in his thought. It's not mere an idea for him, it's a practice for him, it's a law for him, it's a provision for him, and you can assert on that basis to protect yourself.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I
Okay,
got it, sir.
okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you
sir.
for wonderful
Thank you.
questions.
I think
Thank you.
we can stop here. I think-
Thank you very much, one and all. Thanks a
Thank you,
lot.
sir.
Yeah.
Thank you
Jevim, sir.
once
Jevim,
again.
Jevim,
Thank
all
you,
of you, sir.
everybody. We'll meet again on next Saturday.
Definitely.
Same time. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you,
Please,
sir.
please share your contact number, sir. Hello.
Yes, sir. Already I shared. Already I shared.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
Already I
Thank you.
shared in the chat box.
Yeah. Please,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Please don't disconnect the meeting, sir. Hello. Yeah.
Yes, sir. It is there. You can take your number. No problem.
Yeah.
I will
Sir.
wait 10 more
sir,
minutes. I will wait 10
let
more
me
minutes. I will
let
wait
me
10
take
more
your
minutes.
number,
No
sir.
problem.
Yeah. Please. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Ravi, I'm leaving, okay? It's okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Ramtekar sir, JVM. Hello. I got your number, sir. Hello.
Sir, Jebim sir, Jebim sir.
JVM.
Sir. Please, sir, add me any Buddhist group, sir.
Yeah,
If you-
definitely, sir. Definitely. Huh?
Definitely, sir.
Definitely, sir. I
Okay,
got your
sir.
contact number, sir. Okay.
Okay,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Sir, Jebim sir.
JVM, sir. JVM.